We've been talking about different problems in, within, and surrounding the Supreme Court of the United States for many years. And there's very few polls that we've discussed that give us a sense of what the public view is about the Supreme Court. We now have one, and the information that we can glean from it is fascinating. An overwhelming majority of voters would actually support significant reforms to the Supreme Court. Trust and confidence in the Supreme Court has continued to erode in recent years. And according to a new survey by the Democratic-aligned firm Greenberg Quinlan Rosner, there is actually a movement, there is actually an interest among Americans in term limiting Supreme Court justices. And I have to tell you, Lewis, I completely agree with this. If we think about the reason why Supreme Court justices are not elected, right? They are appointed rather than elected. That actually does make sense, right? We wouldn't want those who are interpreting the law to be influenced by the upcoming re-election campaign that they may have to run. So I completely agree with that. However, the idea that the Supreme Court justices are somehow completely independent, we've talked about stories involving Antonin Scalia and Clarence Thomas and his wife, and so many other issues within the Supreme Court. The idea that because they aren't elected, we have this truly independent judiciary that is not in any way tied in with political fundraisers and other conflicts of interest is ridiculous. And I would completely support term limiting Supreme Court justices, and Lewis, and this would also eliminate this game that's played in terms of timing retirements so that the president in office can replace you with someone that would be advantageous. We could get rid of this entire thing, or at least a lot of it, with term limits.
We could. We also agree that there should be term limits for Congress, but we also agree that there should be more members of Congress. And I would say the same thing about the Supreme Court. Perhaps there should be more justices on the court.
Big majorities in this GQR poll said the Supreme Court justices should no longer be appointed for life, that cameras should be allowed in the courtroom, absolutely, and that justices should disclose financial conflicts of interest, absolutely. There was a 60-36 spread by which those surveyed said that Supreme Court justices were more likely to be carrying out a personal or political agenda than to be simply working to render fair and impartial verdicts. This is just obvious stuff. And if you say, well, it's a it's a poll conducted by a Democratic-leaning pollster, I would say, well, then it seems to be only Republicans that are disproportionately blinded to these realities in the Supreme Court. I don't know how anybody could argue that these are not the realities of the Supreme Court today.
They definitely are. It's a terrible state of affairs. It needs to change, but it's going to be an uphill battle, just like the change we need in Congress. How do you really fix the system if everyone who is part of the system is happy with it?
This is viewer-supported independent media. Please support our program by going to davidpakman.com/membership and becoming a member today.